那下一位讲者，我特别介绍就是我们Mr. Jim O'Connor the next speaker。Jim O'Connor 从明尼苏达州来，他是前明尼苏达州玉米协会的理事长，现在是理事。他同时也是美国谷物协会的常务理事。那他务农已经有40年，他的家族务农有160年的历史了他的农田有4000英亩，4000英亩什么概念？我们大安森林公园65英亩他同时也是有养猪所以对于这个农业上非常非常久的一个经验。我们今天非常高兴能够请到 Jim 来跟大家来分享有关他的农田的管理以及他的怎么去执行他的农业永续的一个方式。Let's welcome Jim on the stage to speak the farm management and also the sustainability. Welcome, Jim.
Thank you. I think what I heard, because I took my earpiece out, was Michael was going to be buying drinks later tonight. But let's see here. Does it come up? But first of all, I'd like to thank everybody for attending today. It's very important for me as a farmer from the Midwest, and also as a representative. I was elected to the board of directors for the U.S. Grains Council, so I'm seeing this from different perspectives. It's very important, your attendance here at this meeting. It's very important for me taking time away from my family, from my farm. I arrived at 6 a.m. this morning, so if I'm a little off, you'll have to forgive me, but the U.S. and Taiwan have been considered partners in democracy, and I really appreciate those comments. But it just so happens that this is the U.S. Grains Council's 65th year, and something we're very, very proud of. But also, the U.S. and Taiwan have been partners in democracy for over 65 years. So, just want to, I think that deserves a round of applause. $80 to 90% of the corn is imported into Taiwan. Very important numbers for us to know as U.S. farmers where our market is. We value about 1/3 of the corn that's produced on my farm goes to export channels, and so I view it as 1/3 of our production, or our price is dependent on our customers. So you are our customers. And being here and referred to as the year of the snake is going to be something I will remember. So how do I get this to my presentation? There we go. Okay, I get a chance, and I'm going to just step out from behind here because this isn't working for me. There we go. Can everybody hear me okay? Some of you might, I mean, there's a few people in here that were on my farm last fall. Irene, anyway, our farm hosted a group from Taiwan. And can I see a show of hands if there's some of the others? Okay. Thank you for coming to the United States and coming to our farm. It was very important for me. I get a chance to talk about a couple of my favorite things and maybe one of my least favorite things. Favorite, family, farm. Least favorite, especially right now, is the economics of planting a corn crop. And that's maybe not so good for us in the U.S. right now. The economics are projecting we're right at that break even if we make all of our marketing decisions. So my message to you is buy more corn. Our family farm goes back to 1858. I'm the 7th generation, and grandson, excuse me, 7th generation Case Patrick. He's doing a corn quality inspection there. Everything we do as we go through my slides, you're going to see pictures of my family, and that's by design. This is my family in front of our grain bin setup, but 96% of the farms in Minnesota are owned by family. Next slide. Our farm is located in a little town called Blooming Prairie, Minnesota, about 2,000 people populace. We're located about an hour south of Minneapolis, St. Paul, the capital of Minnesota. And that's an overhead shot of our farm during drying season, so you can see the steam rolling off. Next slide. Somebody said it was cold here today. No. No, you know, the picture on the lower left was taken at 35 degrees below 0 Fahrenheit. But that does some things for us in corn production. Kills off a lot of the things that cause any toxins and also some of the insect pressures that we get. So, and we can have, the spring flooding, talking about climate change and whatnot. The weather extremes, but I also remember as a young person 50, 60 years ago, God forbid, but anyway, we used to have some extreme storms back then also. So, so next slide. We spend a fair amount of time teaching future generations and of what we do. The grandkids on the right, they get involved. Every year they want to have a 4th of July picture taken in the corn crop. Grandkids help out. We also, on our farm, have some finishing barns, so we raise hogs and finish them out, so they get in on helping out. And this is my son on the lower left, so he's assumed the role of farm manager, production manager. And that allows me, as he would say, go goof off. So anyway, he does a very good job, and I'm really blessed. Next slide. Anywheres from our local elementary school to Washington, D.C. We have a big job to do, and that's educating our non-farming public. 1% of the American are considered farmers, of the American producers. So we know we're in the minority, and we know we've got a big job to do to educate. Upper right hand, my right, I guess your left, would be a picture of my grandson's first tractor. He's 10 years old, and he's just proud as could be. He used some of the money he made by picking rocks to buy a tractor, and he showed it to his class in school. So next slide. Drainage. As you see in one of the earlier pictures, we do get the storms, and we do our own drainage wherever possible. The picture in the middle, the center, is an example of why we do that drainage. Where the white lines are, as you can see, those are existing tile lines, and they're removing the excess moisture so that soil can breathe and function properly. So that's just an overhead picture telling us that we need more work to do. And just different various projects that we've done. So next slide. Planting. So about 50% of our acres will go to corn, and about 50% of our acres will go to soybeans each year. We try to kind of keep that rotation. When you plant soybeans, you get a little nitrogen credit from that. They kind of say about a pound of N per bushel of soybeans produced, but and this is a picture here that I want to maybe emphasize. Our corn planters, 24 row, 30-inch spacing, and yes, we still do some conventional planting, but we also do some no-till planting. And on the lower picture is showing the root system on rye. It's used as cover crop, but when we start having the conversation about sustainability, That's one of the tools that we're using. We can just no-till in, plant right in. There's no soil disturbance, and the root growth on that is loosening and enhancing the organic matter in those soils. So we look to the next generation kind of with that in mind. Next slide. Okay, so also our soybeans, we're doing no-till planting into that. And the equipment has changed so much from when I was a youngster and that, but we just plant right into the existing corn stover, and cover crops also where we just plant right into it. Next slide. So chemical and fertilizer application, you know, it was asked of me in the airport talking about it one time, and about the amount of herbicides and the amount of chemicals and that and fertilizer that are used in our cropping. And the picture on with the sprayer, it's about 1 quart, not quite a liter per acre. That'd be 43,500 square feet. So very, very little chemicals. In some chemicals, it's 3 ounces per acre over that entire. So our chemical use is dramatically reduced over the years, especially since my farming career. We're doing split application of our nitrogen. So we come in later and apply additional nitrogen. That keeps us from, that cuts our rates. We're down to about 0.6 of a pound of N per bushel of corn produced. And we do have the swine barns, so the swine manure is applied. It's kind of a complete circle. We're raising the pigs. The pigs are also helping us raise a corn crop, so it completes the circle. Next slide. Technology, man, it's different than when I was a kid for sure. Way over yonder, the picture of the combine or tractor cab. You know, all these monitors and whatnot and technology, everything's got to work. We had an issue this spring where there was solar flares and things that were going on. It interrupted our GPS system, so we were not able to plant corn. And that actually, my son did 7 different interviews. One of them was NHK news media out of Japan. Came to our farm and they actually interviewed us because of the solar flare issue and how it was affecting GPS. So technology is a wonderful thing, but it also can be a real pain in the rear, if you know what I mean. But all of our fields are soil tested on grid, 2.5 acre grid. We only apply the fertilizer that we need, and it's based off of our soil test results. At the end of the day, the grain harvest, and this is the most pronounced map that I've had, is the green areas, green is good, red needs improvement. But that's just an example of one of our yield maps that how we use that data driven. Next slide. There's, I told my son, you're gonna know when I'm thinking about retirement because I'm gonna buy a new combine at least once in my career. That's my new combine. So he kind of had a chance to prepare, but 50 years of running the combine, and I finally got a brand new one. So we always have the winter snow issue in Minnesota to be concerned about, and that picture was taken at about 5 degrees below zero, because if you get snow, you cannot harvest. That snow will collect on the inner workings of the combine and not allow you to harvest. So it has to get cold enough where you blow the snow right through. But yeah, we were struggling to finish, but we did it. So next slide. And yes, not much to say about this other than all the years every generation has faced its challenges. And farming, raising a crop, You got mechanical issues, you got weather issues, you've got political extreme issues, and then you think you just got this wonderful crop and a big wind comes along and lays it on the ground. So, next slide. This is the picture on my far right shows some of the things that we've done on our bin site. This is a brand new bin that was built, and you'll see the line of it's called a side draw. So we don't run that corn through a auger or conveyor. It loads directly into the truck. It's something that we have done in all of our bins, and that helps reduce the BCFM levels that come from our farm. And again, some pictures of our bin site drying. We start harvesting, generally speaking, about 25% moisture. We don't like to buy propane. We don't like to pay for that energy cost any more than anybody else does. So, next slide. Our markets, like I mentioned, a third of it is going to go for export. Mississippi River provides us an outlet. A third of it's going to go through livestock, and a third of it's going to go through ethanol. And then, ethanol plants can be considered an energy plant. They can be also considered a high-quality feed plant. So, farmer, I've invested in several ethanol plants, and that's really stabilized our rural economy in the area. Because when we talk about sustainability, you can't have a sustainable farming operation unless somewhere along the line you have profit. If you don't have profit somewhere along the line, you're not in business and you're not sustainable. Next. And this is just an example of some of the alternative energy. I did put solar on our farm. Kind of cuts down my electric bills as well. We have windmills that are on our farm. I use E85, 85% ethanol wherever possible in our vehicles. So I'm doing my part to try to lower what you'd say my carbon footprint is. Next slide. And this is just a slide that I thought was important to show you the many things that can come from that bushel of corn. You'll have about 17 pounds of distillers. You can have, now it's up over 3 gallons of ethanol, and also a pound of corn oil per bushel, plus other things, the CO2 as well. Next slide. I was elected to the Minnesota Research and Promotion Council. Our mission is to make Minnesota's corn farmers the most sustainable and environmentally responsible corn farmers in the nation. That's our mission. That won't change. Next slide. And this is just I'm not going to go through these by the numbers, but the picture shows, is it attainable? Can we get to 1,000 bushel of corn per acre? That's what I refer to as a dream. However, a new world record was set at 623 bushels an acre in 2023. So the technology and the science and the advancements that have been made throughout the years, I mean, we're getting there. So Minnesota production, they just, something was mentioned about the USDA report. Well, we did not agree with the 1.4. We did not agree with it. They just lowered it to 1.32. So, and that happened somewhere on the way here. So, but the acres planted about 3.31 million hectares. We're the third largest producer of corn in the United States. So, next. And the picture on the far right was Northern Lights. That was as a result of that solar storm that interrupted us, but that picture went global, and that was kind of cool in itself. But we do get a chance to enjoy whatever nature offers to us, and from the land, Minnesota is known as the land of sky blue waters and 10,000 lakes, and we do get a chance to enjoy some of the most beautiful sunsets. This is a core belief of ours in our family. It always has been, going back to 1858. As the sun sets on one generation, the sunrise will welcome the next, and it does create a bright future. That's very important. Way over yonder is my grandparents, my father, also, kind of paved the way. My mother, who's still living at 91 years old, welcoming another generation, and my wife welcoming two of the little chaotic little devils. We have 4 grandchildren, all 3 years old and under, and our house gets pretty lively. Next slide. And the last rows, as we harvested 2024 crop, that's a big day in our world. That means that we can finally chill out and relax a little bit. And 2024 was a trying year for us. It started out very dry planting conditions where we were concerned. Are we going to get a crop? Are we going to have enough moisture to start a crop? And then magically it went to extremely wet. We had one of the wettest Junes ever. And so then we had drowned out spots and replant situations. And, from there, then it went to a hot, dry August, and it was dry all the way through harvest, which was kind of a blessing in disguise because it dried the corn down that we didn't have to use a lot of drying, and the quality was better than we expected, as Alex had indicated in the report. Our quality in Minnesota, we were really, really questioning whether we were going to have a good corn crop or not because of those conditions, and we did. The good Lord always seems to provide for us. So I'm going to defer any questions. We've got a panel coming up, and in the interest of time, so thank you very much, and appreciate you welcoming us here.
Thanks Jim for your great speech. 谢谢 Jim 啊。